to his school, and it reminds us, therefore, that he had a father and he had a sister, and what they did or what happened to them affected his happiness. But he also had some happy times at school. Okay, so this is why Dickens has chosen to use schoolboy here. Okay, I don't know that. I haven't had a chat with Dickens about this, but this is what it says to me. Okay. And as giddy as a drunken man, who does that remind us of? Well, it reminds us of a party. So it reminds us of Fezziwig. So you've got all of these characters from Scrooge's past turning up in this first part of the final chapter, or stave. So you're sort of recalling lots of things that have happened to him. So he's getting back to the man he was. So he's returning in his manner, in the way he is, to the man he was when he was happy working for Fezziwig. And it also reminds us of that message that he actually told the Spirit of Christmas Past. Money matters less than people. Because he argued, didn't he, with the Ghost of Christmas Past, who said, it's not spending very much. And, he didn't say it like that, obviously. Not spending very much. And Scrooge said, it's not the money, it's the man that made a difference. Okay. Now, I'm a bit stuck here because I've got more things to say, but I've completely covered that section with pen, so I'm going to try really hard to make this clear. Where it says everybody and all the world, okay, this is also about mankind. Scrooge has suddenly turned his attention away from just himself, and he's going to start caring about other people. So everybody and all the world now receives Scrooge's blessing. I think you'll probably have space to write that, to write a note there. I don't have any space. Okay, and also note he's celebrating Christmas now. And this idea of a new year, and I think I can squeeze this in, is a new beginning. We make resolutions at New Year, don't we? Okay, this year I'm going to be fitter, or this year I'm going to do all my homework on time. So the fact that he says New Year suggests that he appreciates the new beginning. Okay, remember, this is just interpretations. Okay, it's not written down in stone that this is the way you must think, but it does show thinking. It does show looking closely at words, and that's what an examiner wants you to do. They want you to show that you understand how Dickens' words work. Okay, and then you've got still something to say about this little bit. And then you've got some sort of ridiculous language here. Whoop, hello. Okay, so you've got a bit of daft language there. I'm just going to try to write ridiculous language there to emphasise his happiness. Okay, so you might need to pause there and look up the word ridiculous. Look up how to spell it. Or ask somebody. Okay. And, hello is a greeting, isn't it? He's greeting the world. Whereas earlier, when he used to walk down the streets, people would cross the street to avoid him. Okay. Next bit. He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there perfectly winded. Frisked is like a young, untamed pony. So he's untamed. His feelings are now not going to be held back at all. And it conveys, that means it gets across a sense of his freedom. He's not burdened, it says here, by the misery of his earlier life. And that links to this idea of frisked. And at the top of the mark schemes, the word perceptive is used. So if you want to get higher marks, you could make a link between those two ideas, being as light as a feather and frisked, showing that you're untamed. We call like animals, particularly ponies, who aren't quite tamed yet, who aren't quite broken in, frisky. It means playful. Okay. Let's put that down actually, playful. I like that. Okay. And perfectly winded means he's out of breath. Okay. And this is caused by his excitement and his not knowing what to do. He's discombobulated, okay, which means you're out of sorts, you're not quite yourself. discombobulated. You know, as I'm writing that, I'm thinking I will just double check that spelling. Okay. Once I finish this. Okay. And then the last two paragraphs. Okay, let's read the next one. There's the saucepan that the gruel was in. Gruel is a sort of unpleasant, thin, watery porridge. Okay, you can see that. If it's a bit fuzzy, I think you can still manage. There's a saucepan that the gruel was in. Okay, mention the fireplace there. Scrooge starting off again and going around the fireplace. There's the door. There's the corner. There's the window. Okay, and these are all homely ideas. Okay, which means that Scrooge is safe. But it also, these things remind us of the beginning. Again, there's an ambulance going past, you might be able to just hear that. And they force us to consider the dramatic change in Scrooge. Okay, they force us to consider the dramatic change. Okay. And then this little outburst. Okay. So he laughs, and this is unusual for Scrooge. It's super unusual, and that's what Dickens writes in the next paragraph. Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh, a most illustrious laugh, the father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs. Okay? So, out of practice means he hasn't laughed for a long, long time. So all I'm going to do is join that with that. Look at the link between those two paragraphs. And it's years since he's laughed. And Dickens writes splendid, illustrious and brilliant. Okay, so Dickens is using some exaggerating. He uses this sort of hyperbole. Okay, hyperbole is when you sort of exaggerate things. And he's using hyperbole there to emphasise the extent of Scrooge's joy. Okay, and then when he says the father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs, he's using imagery there. He's using a metaphor, and it's a bit like saying the laugh of laughs. Okay, the original laugh. So it's a bit like Ozymandias when he says King of Kings. This is like saying it's the laugh of laughs. Laugh. Original laugh. Yours will be neater than that. Okay. Just going to look at my notes. Okay. Illustrious, and this is a really fine detail. Illustrious could remind us of the ghost of Christmas Past, because he had a lustrous belt. We've used that idea quite a lot in class. So, recalls the ghost or the spirit of past, and then again, and I keep saying this is something that you should use on just about any response, any question that you're asked. It forces us to consider the change. It's not just any old change, it's the dramatic change in Scrooge. Okay, now I'm not saying that's everything there is to say about those 2 pages, but you have certainly got plenty. That if you had that extract in an exam, you wouldn't get time to write all of that. Okay, so we're thinking about themes of happiness and change and redemption. And if you were asked a question about happiness or change or redemption, you could use these ideas. They could be used for lots of ideas as well. They could even be used in the morality question, okay, because his morals have changed. He's thinking about mankind. He seems to be adopting a Christian message. Okay. And obviously you can use your own ideas, and you can add ideas to your notes, or you can add ideas in class, and be happy to consider them. Okay, that's that for now.